Okay, so two things. One,
holy shit!
And two, that's gotta be terrifying. Did you see this man sitting in his chair like that, staring directly into your very soul? Like, I'm sorry, what? Welcome back, everyone.
Episode 9. Encounter.
So the episode starts off 2 days later with Light and Ryuk providing us with a bit of context from the previous episode. Ryuk, the Apple addict, is still going through withdrawals, and due to that, he's willing to forego what he said in episode 3 about not helping Light in order to get his fix.
Are you sure about this?
I just flew out and checked a 100-meter radius around you and there was no one there. So yeah, for the last time, I'm sure, okay?
Light, being the enabler that he is, eventually gives in and gets our boy some apples, but Ryuk makes it clear that he's getting a little fed up with Light.
You know, I might actually write your name in my death note and kill you. I wouldn't laugh if I were you.
Right.
And I don't know if it's indifference or hubris, but it's wild to me that Light could just shrug that off, because Ryuk really is well within his rights as a Shinigami to kill Light. In fact, the only reason Ryuk felt comfortable dropping that notebook in the human world was because he had a spare, and since Light can't kill him, the power dynamic in their relationship is completely one-sided. Ryuk can, at any point, write down Light's name, and there's not a damn thing he could do about it. Anyway, back at the Yagami household, we find Light mulling over his actions from 2 nights ago. While the trick did serve its purpose, kind of, it was still ultimately the equivalent of putting a band-aid on a bullet hole. And honestly, when I think about it, it was kind of stupid to do that, because at that point he had already written down plenty of criminals' names earlier in that same episode. Ryuk even commented on the fact that he'd never seen the notebook used like that. So, I mean, criminals were going to keep dying regardless of whether or not he wrote those names down. If anything, by going after people who were clearly guilty of lesser crimes, it ultimately created an anomaly in Kira's behavior that just so happened to coincide with when Light Yagami first started being monitored. Again, Light just kind of fucks himself.
All I really have to do is remember the identities of the criminals I see on TV or online. That way, whenever I go out, I can use that piece of the death note I keep in my wallet to kill them at random times. It's the perfect way to deal with these hidden cameras.
I really can't argue with his logic there. If anything, that was probably the smarter play to begin with. However, it does bring to light, no pun intended, another issue that hasn't been addressed, and that's the issue of how he plans on replenishing his stash. Because, as it was established in episode 2, he has this elaborate process for how he hides the notebook. So, with these cameras in his room, 64 of them, mind you, what's he gonna do when he runs out? Has that thought crossed his mind at all? Or does it matter? Could you theoretically use an eraser? A regular one, not the one from issue 0, to just erase the person's name after they died and write another name in that same space? I'm not really sure what would happen in that instance. Anyway, back at HQ.
I've listened to all of our audio recordings and reviewed the video footage we captured. I've gone over them many times.
Excuse me, what? That's insane. The idea that he was doing double the work of everyone else by monitoring both families while everyone else just monitored one? I mean, that's a lot. But, and I feel like a broken record at this point, but it again speaks to the difference between Ryuzaki and the others. I mean, look at them. They've apparently spent so much time just monitoring a single family that they haven't even had the opportunity to shave. Like, it says a lot that Ryuzaki, who's apparently just running on an endless sugar high, was able to get through double the work that everyone else was doing. I'm just gonna say it, Ryuzaki is built different.
Our surveillance of the Kitamura and Yagami households has revealed nothing. We will remove the cameras and wiretaps.
It appears as though Light's machinations have proven beneficial. However, I do want to take note of the fact that the cameras and wiretaps are going to be removed, because that's going to be hella important a little bit later.
All that and we still don't have any suspects.
It's okay, Matsuda. We'll have to pursue other leads, but we'll get them.
Peep the Chief looking super relieved to find out that his family's been cleared. I imagine it must be nice, however short-lived it may be. I also love the fact that he just has a whole different aura to him. He's not the least bit upset that, as far as he's concerned, everyone just wasted the last couple of days on what proved to be a dead end. Who cares about something like that when your family just got cleared?
Please don't get the wrong idea. I only said that we were unable to reveal anything suspicious based on our surveillance.
Then you believe that Kira is among one of those families?
I love the way he says it. He's like, but not mine, right? We're good, right? Right? It reminds me of that Star Wars meme with Anakin and Padme.
You'd think that any human being would have shown at least some emotion, some sign that they were knowingly committing an act of murder.
He does have a point. I mean, you would think that, and I suppose to an extent what he's saying is true. I mean, Light did freak out the first couple of times, but I imagine after killing so many people, you just become kind of numb to it. They probably stop feeling like people at a certain point, just names on paper.
What if he is one of these people we've been watching? If he is, we have to assume that his psyche has reached godlike proportions.
Huh. Godlike, you say?
I will become the god of this new world. I'm the one who will become the god of a new world that everyone desires. I intend to reign as a god in that world for a very long time.
Yeah, I'd say that sounds about right.
So what should I do? Ideally, I would get to know him well enough that he'd admit to me that he was Kira and show me how he kills.
That's an interesting idea. Let's see if he can pull it off. Anyway, back in the Yagami household.
I just checked and all the cameras have been removed. Hey, Light! Oh, good point. We still don't know if they've removed all the wiretaps.
I really like the fact that upon finding out that the cameras were gone, he immediately goes downstairs and grabs an apple for Ryuk. I don't know, it just seems kind of sweet, like an evil Velma giving a fugly Scooby-Doo a Scooby snack.
I'm relieved we don't have to deal with wiretaps in the house anymore.
Why does he just think that? I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here for a moment, but something worth noting here is the fact that Ryuk is never shown to have found any wiretaps. Like, Light just assumes that they exist after Ryuk says he found a camera.
So they really put cameras in here. They must have bugged the place as well.
So, like, how do they know that the wiretaps are gone if Ryuk never said that he found any? He mentioned 64 cameras, but never said anything about a wiretap.
There sure are a lot of cameras in this room. I counted 64 in total.
Like, obviously they're not one and the same, or Light doing this earlier wouldn't make sense. So how did Ryuk confirm that they're gone if he never actually confirmed they were there to begin with? This is actually a really big point of contention for me, especially given how this episode ends, specifically with some of the wild ass shit that Light says when he's alone in his room. How exactly did they determine that the wiretaps were gone? I mean, don't get me wrong, I know they're gone, but my thing is, how do they know if Ryuk was never confirmed to have found them during his initial search of the house, and still was implied to have not been able to confirm their existence whilst doing his final search of the house? But now, while riding on the train, he just casually mentions that they're gone. It just seems super odd. But anyway.
You there! You better hurry up!
It's fine. I hate waiting. I'm here too early.
Okay. You there! Student number 162. Sit properly in your chair.
Okay, so two things. One,
Holy shit!
and two, that's gotta be terrifying. Did you see this man sitting in his chair like that, staring directly into your very soul? Like, I'm sorry, what? I feel like that would just fuck me up for the whole exam. I'd just be looking over my shoulder, wondering if this creepy son of a bitch is still staring at me. Anyway, Ryuzaki has made his move, and it's a bold one. Alright, welcome back to How to Read. First up, we have a god of death cannot be killed even if stabbed in his heart with a knife or shot in the head with a gun. However, there are ways to kill a god of death which are not generally known to the gods of death. Wow, it's been a minute since we've had a nice, juicy rule. Unfortunately, this is one that I don't really want to get into because it's not something that's really pertinent to the narrative just yet. It's like they either tell you about a rule too late or way too early. Either way, two things I do want to point out is, one, I wasn't really under the impression that all Shinigami had hearts. I know Ryuk stated this same thing back in episode 1, but having seen more Shinigami since then, the idea of them having hearts seems a bit weird. Like, some of them seem like they're literally just fucking bones, but I guess what do I know? Their heart might be in their left foot or something. Anyway, secondly, why is it not known to Shinigami what does and does not kill them? Because I don't know, I feel like that's something I would definitely want to be aware of if I were a Shinigami. Anyway, the second one says, the conditions for death will not be realized unless it is physically possible for that human, or it is reasonably assumed to be carried out by that human. And this is another one we've already discussed, but still good to know. After the break, we find ourselves back in the Shinigami realm.
Who would want him as a pet? Aren't pets supposed to be cute? When you're right, you're right.
Fuck these Shinigami. I mean, they're right, he's ugly as shit, but still, it's your personality that counts. Or whatever.
So I think I'd better go take a closer look.
Okay, so they talk all this shit about Ryuk, but then apparently a bunch of them are just constantly keeping tabs on him. These just sound like a bunch of jealous ass bitches, bro. Anyway, we head back over to Light and Ryuk, and oh, looks like we're just in time for Light's college entrance ceremony. Should be super interesting.
You're a college student now. That's kind of exciting. I'm filled with joy.
What a weird guy, but I will say that I do love that he's just standing there like a proud papa or something. It's cute.
The freshman address, freshman representative, Light Yagami, and freshman representative Hideki Ryuga.
I remember him from the exam center. He got into trouble for sitting oddly in his desk.
So, two things. No, three. One, you remember him for sitting oddly at his desk and not the fact that this man was staring at you like that creepy-eyed girl from Dexter? Seriously? Anyway, two, remember what I said last time about that dude on the TV being somewhat important? Well, here's why. Ryuzaki has decided to use his name as an alias, and if for some reason it's not immediately clear as to why he's done that, well, then we'll get to it. And lastly, Light being the freshman representative isn't all that surprising. The show has made it abundantly clear that dude's a fucking genius. However, the idea that Ryuzaki is also up there is, I don't know, I mean, for all we know, he could have just used his connections with the police to somehow manipulate this scenario into happening. But I'm inclined to believe that this dude is just as smart as Light, and I think it's kind of cool to see it presented like this. If anything, one could argue that he's smarter than Light, because I imagine he didn't have much time to prepare for that exam, whereas Light has not only been going to school during the day, he's also been going at night. But, I mean, Ryuzaki is roughly 7 years older than him, so, I don't know, think about that what you will.
These two are total opposites. This one looks like a sheltered genius who's been groomed for success his whole life. But the other one, there's something not right about him. He's just freaking weird.
So it's interesting to see how people perceive the two of them from a more sociological perspective. Ryuzaki received some pretty harsh criticism for his appearance, and it stems from him demonstrating behaviors that are outside of societal norms. I mean, during this scene, two people refer to him as being weird, two people comment on his attire, one person comments that he might be crazy, and while there is one person who says they find him cute, the person she tells that to immediately calls her weird for thinking it. Like, they don't fuck with him. Meanwhile, we know that Light gets pussy thrown him like he's a baseball catcher, and anything that's said about him during this scene is undeniably positive. I think the point I'm trying to make is, in society we have a tendency to put people into boxes, to categorize them based on preconceived notions we have regarding how they choose to present themselves. And while I can appreciate the sociological and psychological reasons for why we as people do that, it doesn't change the fact that it can be a bit problematic. Like, for example, if we were to ask this audience, who amongst these two individuals would you say is Kira and who would you say is L? I would imagine most, if not all, would choose incorrectly. And I don't say that to talk shit about them, it's just kind of how it is. The only reason I wouldn't assume as such is because I already know who these guys are.
Light Yagami, your father is Chief Soichiro Yagami of the NPA.
Who the hell is this guy?
Y'all, I would be fucking gone. That's creepy as shit. Some random dude you've never had a conversation with just rolls up on you and starts whispering shit about your father and what he does for work. Nah, nope.
I have important information concerning the Kira investigation that I'd like to share with you.
Where's this coming from?
I want to tell you I'm Al.
What? Like, what the fuck? Okay, let's go over this. This was an insane play. But also, from our perspective, not super surprising. He said earlier in this same episode that the best way to go about it was to befriend him, and at face value, there's nothing really all that antagonistic about what he's done at all, really. All he's done is introduce himself to the son of the chief. Hell, he even mentioned the fact that he thinks Light might be able to help him out with the case. It actually kind of mirrors what happened between Light and Naomi a little bit, with Ryuzaki acting as Light in this situation, pretending to be cordial and nice when really he has ulterior motives. The key difference, of course, being that Light is aware of this, whereas Naomi was completely oblivious.
What? There's no way. What's he talking about? This isn't good. Don't act surprised.
So one thing I have to commend Light for is his ability to stay cool under pressure. Dude might be on the verge of having a full-blown panic attack on the inside, but he really does know how to maintain his composure when necessary. Though, I will say that I like the added bits of his hands shaking like this, conveying to us that while he is good at keeping himself in check, it doesn't mean it's not a struggle.
This guy really is L. No, even if he's not L, I can't do anything to him.
And I guess that's the real brilliance in all of this. By showing up and telling Light who he is, it makes him practically untouchable for the time being. Even if his real name was Hideki Ryuga, and even if Light did choose to write his name down, the act of killing him would just serve to prove Ryuzaki right. Like, yeah, he'd die, but Light would also go down for it. It's mutually assured destruction at that point. This move ensures that Light can't touch him right now, while also giving Ryuzaki the opportunity to see how he'll react to being completely blindsided by this.
Although it's obvious Hideki Ryuga is nothing more than an absurd alias, it still complicates things.
And that's another thing. Given the fact that Ryuzaki used a famous person's name, it makes it so that Light could fuck around and kill that pop star. Because, as you know, you need to think of the person's face when writing their name down. And yeah, one could argue that all you need to do is focus on visualizing his face, but there's still a chance that you might accidentally think about the famous one.
I didn't think the ceremony would be so interesting.
You want to know what I'm not understanding? Where the fuck is Light's family? I mean, sure, okay, maybe the chief is at work, but even still, this seems like a pretty big event, so I'd imagine Light's mother or sister would show up at least. It just seems kind of weird that he's here by himself, especially given how involved his mother seems in his education. I mean, you could argue that Ryuzaki set it up like this, but I mean, I'm super curious as to how the chief convinced his wife not to go to her son's entrance ceremony, all while not telling her he's under suspicion for being Kira.
Hey, welcome home, Mr. Toho.
So, two things. One, again, why wasn't she at the ceremony? And where the fuck are his parents at? Like, that seemed like a really big life moment and no one showed up for it. And two, Light went the whole way home without saying anything. I want to point that out because when he finally does say something, well...
Damn it! He got me! Damn, L! I've never been so humiliated in my life!
So, I don't know, it's kind of insane to me that he's somehow taking this interaction as being humiliated. Like, I've been sitting here trying to wrap my head around why he feels like that, and I've got nothing. So, I'm actually going to pass this one to y'all because I'm curious as to if you could explain it to me. Because, to me, humiliation was Ryuzaki fucking with him and talking shit about him in front of the entire Kanto region. This, what about this is humiliating, exactly? Frustrating, yes, totally. Aggravating, too, but humiliating? I don't know. Why is it that this one-on-one conversation feels more humiliating than being disrespected and shat on in front of millions of people?
Why don't you just do the Shinigami ideal? Then you should have no problem killing him, right?
This is like oddly sweet. I don't know why, but just the idea that upon seeing Light freak out, Ryuk's immediate response is like, hey bud, you could always try this. I mean, even if this means giving him half of his remaining lifespan, but still, it comes across as kind of empathetic.
If I kill him and it turns out he's not really L, that would be like announcing to the real L that I am Kira. I want nothing more than to kill him, but if I do, it's like asking to get caught.
Okay, so, two things. First, Light, what the fuck are you doing? Like, really, what the actual fuck are you doing? Yelling some shit like that while your little sister is downstairs. Like, yes, she's got the TV up pretty loud, but who's to say she doesn't come upstairs and go to her room or something, you know? Also, I know you had your little screaming fit back in episode 2, but that was back when the idea of Kira was more speculation than anything. And besides, during that little speech, you spoke about being God and justice, which, don't get me wrong, is a weird thing to be shouting out in your room, but given the fact that you were basically reciting scripture during one of your classes in episode 1, you could probably justify it as just being homework or something. However, that's not gonna cut it this time because you were literally screaming about the fact that you are Kira and that you want to kill L. Anyway, secondly, Ryuzaki, why the fuck did you pull out all of the cameras and wiretaps right before you did this? Like, what the fuck? Why wouldn't you confront him first and then look at how he reacts via the cameras? Or hell, just the wiretaps? Because now that I think about it, if what Ryuk said was right about them wanting him to find some of the cameras, then that means if he did find them, he'd eventually know when they were removed, which might give him a false sense of security, opening you up for the opportunity to utilize the wiretaps to catch him saying something incriminating. Something like, oh, I don't know.
If I kill him and it turns out he's not really L, that would be like announcing to the real L that I am Kira.
I don't get why you would remove them right before doing this. Like, what the fuck? And also, Light, if Ryuzaki just pulled a stunt like this, why wouldn't you assume that while you were out, he didn't reinstall a couple of cameras or wiretaps or something? Like, your father could have just dropped by and put one in your room. It's not like he was at the ceremony. Like, it just all seems so stupid on both of their parts. Light for being reckless and Ryuzaki for being just fucking dumb, like especially Ryuzaki, because why wouldn't you want to see how he reacts when he's alone in his room after meeting you for the first time? It's just, whatever, just fuck it, let's move on. Ryuk's over there like, okay.
I'll kill you with my hands if I have to.
Not with my fucking bare hands. Jeez, that's oddly aggressive. Which I guess gives you an idea of how much Ryuzaki gets under his skin. But yeah, Roll credits. Anyway, that's the end of this episode. If you liked the video, then consider dropping a like. And if you really liked it, then consider subscribing. Anyway, that's it for this time. Until next week, friends. Peace.